Hi everybody. This is amazing. This is the first time that I'm actually using Facebook Live. I'm usually using Instagram Live. So this is definitely a plus to the plus to the plus. um, so I am on here because I am a part of this amazing Black Girl Boss group. We are all bosses. We are all on top of our ish for the most part. But we're always learning, growing, trying new things, seeking advice, seeking different things from each other as a community. And so that way we can, be a Black girl boss, right? I think it's more like of a verb to action. It's like we're constantly in this mode of being a Black girl boss. So I'm really honored to be on here. First and foremost, I want to thank Shayla for creating this community for us, that is supported by us and created for us. So that's first and foremost. So while I'm giving everybody kind of a chance to get acclimated and whatnot, I'll just introduce myself personally really quickly. My name is Angie. I am the creator of The Green Baker. And so hey girl, hey. So I specialize in plant-based, medicine. And so that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about a little bit, for this live. And I'm super excited to educate and share this information with you guys. And I hope that you can take, even if it's a couple of little pieces with you, to be able to help you be your best Black girl boss, right? Because that's important. So I always start with education. Education is everything, right? We know this. Like, the more information you have, the better educated decisions you can make, the better outcomes you'll have, because you'll have that information. And so today, that's really what I am here to do. My experience with cannabis has been absolutely incredible, and I can really legitimately say that. I have, as all of us, have had many, many different experiences through my life that have created trauma, created patterns, created behaviors, right? That a lot of times get in the way of me really being able to shine fully with my potential and to bring forth these things that are of my creative mind and my creative place in this world. And so cannabis has definitely been one of those things that I have used to not only create that work-life balance, so that way I can better be a creative, I can better focus on what I need to grow my brand, but it's also just been so beneficial for my overall health and wellness, not even in relation to my business. And so being so passionate about this, it is really honestly the perfect business for me, because I experienced it firsthand. And so then I'm able to then impart that same experience onto other people and educate them and help them to kind of open their eyes to what the possibilities are with this plant. So, really being an entrepreneur, being, just so much time, so much effort, so much, brain, mental power, that goes into creating a brand and manifesting a brand can sometimes be a really daunting thing. And I'm sure you all know that that is something that can be so absolutely mind numbing sometimes, and really difficult to kind of wrap our hands around. And especially being that, a lot of us are very creative, right? And so where does that creativity come from? Where does that, kind of base itself in? And so it can be very exhausting, kind of producing and putting out and creating. And so being able to have this plant has really helped not only educate myself so I can help other people, but it also helps my creativity and me being able to balance out what I need to, so that way I can really truly be fully creative. a lot of us create brands that are for wellness. A lot of us have brands that are about bettering our community, growing our community, being able to contribute in some way with whatever gift that is that we have for our community. And we know that first it begins with us, right? We can't give of what we don't have. We can't create what we don't have. We can't, fully support other people in this industry and in our communities if we don't have it to give. So, one of the things that I really wanted to kind of touch on, and is something that I think a lot of times people don't really think about when they are talking about cannabis, is the availability of a lot of phytochemicals that are in cannabis. And this was something that I've learned, and I'm so happy that I learned it, because it helped to create a much more discerning kind of attitude when it came to how I was medicating. So, we know that, cannabis is a plant, and just like every other plant, vegetable, herbs that we consume or eat, they have medicinal properties, right? A lot of those medicinal properties are tied into like phytochemicals, there are terpenes, there are flavonoids, and there are cannabinoids, which I'm sure most of us have heard about cannabinoids, because THC, CBD are one or two of the many, many cannabinoids that are found in cannabis that are beneficial. But I specifically wanted to talk about the terpenes. Now, the terpenes in a cannabis plant are really kind of like sort of magical, I guess I could say, right? Like most plants, it's sort of magical, and it works in conjunction with the cannabinoids and the phytochemicals that are in the cannabis to really influence the type of experience that you have. So I know, and I'm just gonna keep it real, a lot of us may have, or in our past or presently, have dabbled in smoking, inhalation type of methods of consumption. And I know for myself personally, when I go to that person that I'm purchasing it from, I'm not really before I wasn't being very particular about what I was getting. I was just like, hey, give me whatever's the strongest, whatever's going, just whatever. But now, with the advent of medical marijuana, and with a lot of states coming on recreationally, we are able to be a lot more discerning and a lot more educated about what it is and what type of experience that we want to have when we are going to ingest cannabis. So this is one of the really amazing things that's happening right now, is that we can now educate ourselves a little bit more fully into what is it that I'm particularly trying to do? What is the effect that I am trying to have when I am going to ingest this cannabis? And I think that's so exciting, because that's something that we really haven't had access to. We really haven't been able to do, especially in the illegal market, right? On the black market. So now being able to have access to this stuff, to go, you know what? I'm really dealing with a lot of pain in my neck or in my shoulders, and I really want something that's going to help with that pain specifically. Or, I'm dealing with a lot of inflammation. I'm dealing with, whether it's topical, meaning on our skin, or whether it's internal inflammation. Hey, I want something that's going to help me with anti-inflammatory properties. I want something that's going to help me to reduce this inflammation, that's going to help with the pain, to alleviate that pain, so then I can then think better, I can then produce better, I can be more present. And so all of these things are like a little bit of a domino effect, right? And so one of the things that really, really helps out in our cannabis plant are these terpenes. And terpenes are just like, we know this from other plants. We know this from other herbs that we take, right? For instance, it's really big in like aromatherapy. So we use a lot of lavender, right, to sedate and to kind of relax a mood, to bring our mood down. We use citruses. We use all of those kind of properties to help brighten and to awaken our senses. So this is the same exact thing with cannabis. We can also, there are hundreds of terpenes in cannabis, literally hundreds. But I'm just going to concentrate on a few of them, which I think could be really beneficial. So when you do go into, whether you have your medical marijuana card, and you're going into a dispensary, then you will go in and walk in really well equipped to understand what is it that you're really trying to target, and understand that those terpenes can really influence your overall experience with this plant, right? So like for instance, there's myrcene. Myrcene is really earthy. It helps with pain and inflammation. There's carophenolin, which is hoppy and kind of like is found in like cloves and rosemary. That's also helpful for pain and inflammation. And I have to read this because these names are like crazy off the charts, so I'm not going to memorize all of these. There's pinene, which can be found in like pine and, things like that. That also is really helpful with airflow. So if you have any sort of like bronchial issues, that would be really helpful. Pinene. We have linomene, which is once again kind of that citrus. You find that in lemons and oranges and sort of citrus fruits. That helps to boost your immunity. We have terpinolene, which is found in lilacs, apples, rosemary. That's actually a sedative, and it's actually an antioxidant also. We have linalool, which is in bergamot, which is one of my favorite scents on the planet, coriander, rose, jasmine, and of course lavender. And so we know that these things have antifungal properties. They're help with sedation, also anti-seizure. We have oxamine, which is found in mint and mangoes and orchids and basil. That's also an antiviral, antifungal, and anti-inflammatory terpene. We have nerolodamine, and I'm hoping I'm saying that right. It's kind of a woody kind of terpene. And this is also an antimicrobial and antifungal terpene. We have bisabolene, which is mild and floral, and that can also help with inflammation and pain. And then we have guanylene, which is piney. It's found in cypress pine. It's an antibacterial and also an antioxidant. So these are just some of the terpenes that can be found in many of the different types of cannabis plant, right? And so being able to understand what the properties of these terpenes are, not only from an inhalation standpoint, because when you burn it like in a joint or in a pipe, you immediately are able to ingest these terpenes, but also in extraction methods, which is really kind of my lane because that's what I do. Being able to extract these terpenes and all of those properties and all of those benefits, which we hear a lot about CBD. That's like a huge catchphrase right now. Everything is CBD. There's CBD this and CBD that. You can find CBD anywhere. But in just that alone, there's something called the ensemble effect, which I really love. And sometimes it's called the entourage effect. And the ensemble effect is when you are ingesting the cannabis, all of these properties work together, kind of like a symphony, like an orchestra, right? And maybe CBD might be, the conductor, but the conductor can't conduct on its own, right? It has to have all of these different instruments that kind of come together to make this beautiful piece of music. So cannabis is kind of that same thing. We have terpenes, we have phytochemicals, we have the cannabinoids, and they all bring different things to the table to then influence the experience that you're going to have with it. So, I want to stress education. I want to stress getting your cannabis from a reputable source, asking questions. I think just like with everything that we do, we question where our fruit comes from and where our vegetables come from. And, is this ethically sourced? Is the lotion that I'm putting on, is it vegan? Is it, is it tested on animals? I think these are all of the really big questions that we need to ask ourselves when we are deciding whether we are purchasing hemp, whether we're purchasing CBD or, THC, cannabis. These are all really important questions that we need to ask ourselves, and then ask, what is the experience that I'm trying to have with this? What am I trying to alleviate? Because to just use cannabis, just to use it for the psychoactive effects, is really just leaving a lot on the table. And it's really not using the plant fully in a way that's going to benefit our health, our wellness, our overall mental wellness, and then obviously our capability to take care of ourselves and then be able to continue to build our business and do what we do best, right? So I want to look through the comments really quick to see, okay, hopefully there's no questions. So this is, to me, the best and one of the best things about using plants to be able to help balance and alleviate a lot of the things that I personally struggle with. And I'm sure, we are, especially now because of everything that is going on, using cannabis in a much more recreational way for our own mental health, which is so important. But while we're trying to, take care of self, let's also be very thoughtful and mindful about all of the other things that are in that plant that can help us to be able to not only, help with pain, help with inflammation, help with bacterial things. Let's also be mindful of all of those properties that cannabis can also bring to our lives, right? And especially now, as I encourage everyone to really do some research. Aside from asking those questions, look and see where you're purchasing your cannabis from. This is such a social equity. Let's support our fellow brothers and sisters. Let's purchase cannabis from them. Let's go to those dispensaries if you have access to do that. Let's go to the dispensaries that are owned by Black and brown people. Being able to not only keep our mental health and wellness in check, but also being able to support our community with our dollar is also, I think, something that's really important. Also, you're able to then understand and know where you're getting your stuff from. You're able to ask those questions. You're able to have a conversation, hopefully, with the owner of the dispensary. They understand the experiences that are very unique to us, and they're able to then give you some direction. I found all of this on the website. It's people may or may not be familiar with it. It's called Weed Maps. They have a really large catalog of just different information, questions. They also have dispensary locations, so you can actually find dispensary locations and dig a little bit deeper before you go there and find out who owns these dispensary, who's behind this, who's the people that are really making the money. Are they investing back into our communities? These are really great ways to be able to not only with our dollar bill and in taking care of our mental health, be able to really dictate a narrative in our community. So I hope this has been really informative. Don't just smoke it just to smoke it to get high. Make sure that you're using the full potential. Make sure that you're using the full capacity of this plant to better your health and wellness. Because you know what? We all need it. And also, as you're building a brand, there's extra stress. There's extra stuff that comes on with that. And to be able to have this amazing plant at our fingertips, to fully understand how to use it, and to use it not only to educate ourselves, but hopefully to educate others, and to be actual proof, to be actual, that personal experience to say, hey, this is how this has helped me. This is how it can help you. I feel like will be the most beneficial thing that we can possibly do, not only for ourselves, but also for our community. We need this now more than ever, especially as we are dealing with the ongoing, trauma and, mental strain that is being Black in America. So thank you guys so much. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you need a little bit more information on terpenes, if you need a little bit more information on plant-based sort of information, please feel free to reach out to me. I am a part of your guys' group, so I am on there, so you can reach out to me with any questions that you might have. And I hope that this has sparked a little bit of a conversation in your head, even if it's to yourself. And hopefully that conversation you can have with other people also, to kind of spark this ability to say, you know what, maybe there are different ways that we could be using this plant. And I hope everyone is doing well. Please be safe. Please take care of each other. And yeah, I will talk to you guys soon. I know I'm a little bit early, but you know, hey, it's cool. All right. Take care, guys. Thank you guys again. Thank you, Shayla. Thank you, Black Girl Bosses. Appreciate you guys so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye.